And we gotta stay with it.
It's not a September story.
Yeah, I think the more we get on top of it now, that with Lim is here, it's like we get all these issues that we have now, the better we'll be when it's not an if, it's when, the next one comes.
Mayor, we came all the way around. We didn't, I mean, you've been chiming in and adding, but anything you want to add to that?
So just basically, what you guys are doing now, we appreciate that. We thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. And I think Nim has most of the items down. Billy, Ted, and the judge, they've come up with some of the things that we need here. And I think we basically told the agencies that what we need. And I really want to appreciate what they're doing for us because I think we're getting our needs met.
Thank you. All the credit. Anyone in the media have any questions for anyone here? Thank you all for coming, by the way. It's very important we get all these messages out. It's very important.
I'll go.
Yes, sir.
How do you feel about the comments from President Joe Biden saying that if he had gotten contact earlier, that resources and help could have came earlier?
Yeah. He's just flat wrong.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand the relationship that we have with FEMA. He doesn't understand that in Texas, we didn't need his generators because we filled every request and we still have generators. We didn't need anything on the emergency side. And he was, I'm not making this political, he was trying to give us things we didn't need to say, look what I've done. And we didn't need to declare that emergency declaration. Within 24 hours of the end of the storm, I talked to him and I asked him for the disaster declaration. He granted it, and then he went on television and said it was a major declaration. So they had to come back and tell us to change it, which was even better for us. So the truth is, everything he said was untrue, wasn't needed. And by the way, he said he couldn't find Greg Abbott or me. He's got Greg Abbott's cell number. Talked to him after Memorial Day, and as far as I was concerned, I was where I was supposed to be for 4 days at the SOC with FEMA and their people. All he had to do was call them and hand me the phone. But our focus was on saving lives. Our focus was on responding to your needs, not dealing with a president who really doesn't know anything about preparation or recovery. That's what I would share. Anything?
I don't know how to follow that.
Yeah.
I will tell you, in my almost 32 years in this business, it's the first time I've seen a president weaponize resources that he's trying to send to a state. And it's sad.
Next question.
Yeah.
I'll just add one last thing. It was very interesting when we did the phone call, which we were in Lake City. It was around noon. I walked in. I said very positive things. I thanked him, appreciated it. I asked him for A and B. He granted A and B. Everything was good. He couldn't take the win. Had to come back and try to make it a political issue. It's sad. We're not interested in that. Yes, ma'am.
So speaking of recovery and preparation, what effort is going into now to recover from Beryl and its impact?
He's the man with all the answers.
And really, that's a great question. You've got great local elected and appointed leaders here in all of these counties that are with us today that are taking care of business. We went through the list that we've done with every community that we've been in, and the biggest thing they need is the next step in recovery, and we're bringing in teams to help them with that tomorrow. But what we've seen in other communities, power restoration, food, water, and ice. Other communities need additional law enforcement. They've asked for additional fire and EMS personnel. Y'all have handled the disaster here with the resources that you have, and that should be congratulated.
I have a question for Lieutenant Patrick. The National Weather Service issued 28 tornado warnings, but only one of them was actually a tornado. Is there something that the state can do to work with the Weather Service to make sure people aren't being alert fatigued?
Yeah, it's we talked about that a little bit in here just a few moments ago. All the warnings that were hit, and I can't control the weather. I can't control the National Hurricane Center. I can't control the Weather Channel. I can't control the meteorologist. We get out the best information that we can. And during the storm, I did about 20 television interviews and radio interviews, letting the people know in this part of the state that tornadoes may be heading your way, wind was heading your way, and rain was heading your way. We did everything we could get to get the word out. I understand there is fatigue, with the folks, and, but I'd rather warn them
Me too.
than not to say anything. I'd rather for them to be
Exactly.
fatigued than to lose their life in their house.
Can I add a little bit more to that? This particular storm, the way that it was coming in, our meteorologist in-house at the Division of Emergency Management was prepping us for the way that the radar system works and the way this storm was moving. There were probably going to be touchdown tornadoes that would be missed between radar sweeps. And so it is very critical. We used to only wait until you could see the tornado take action, and now we're using technology to try to get those few minutes of life safety information into the hands of citizens to take action. And nobody wants to be falsely alerted. Nobody does. But in a time like this, when so many tornadoes and so many radar indicated tornadoes are there, we've got to get that message out.
I have one more question. There were 29 hospitals in the Southeast Texas Regional Advisory Council on Internal Disaster.
Yeah.
Were any of those large hospitals, and if so, which ones?
Well, I can't tell you all 29 by heart, but there were large ones and large systems. And again, look, everything the local government does is terrific. Everything he does is terrific. I'm not saying that to make everybody feel great. It just is, and they respond. So yesterday, when we were in Houston, we were told that we had this backup in all of our hospitals where ambulances had patients waiting in line in emergency rooms for 3 hours. They couldn't take anybody in because they couldn't discharge anyone, because the doctors wouldn't allow many of their patients to be discharged to a home that didn't have power. So tell them what you did within minutes.
And so we brought in 25 additional ambulances to be able to offload on the 911 system because City of Houston told us they were out of EMS units. Their units were sitting in the emergency room. Some of them had been there. About 60% of their fleet had been waiting in the ER for more than 3 hours to offload a patient. They couldn't get patients out of the ER to the floor because the floors were full, because they couldn't discharge the floors to home because there was no electricity. So we set up a 250-person field hospital at NRG Stadium. It's operational today. And then brought in additional ambulances to relieve those units. You asked the question about the hospitals out of the 29. Memorial, Herman, and Bentalb are pretty big hospitals, and they were on the internal disaster list.
Yeah.
But the Southeast Texas Regional Advisory Council in Houston is the one to give you the best information about exactly which ones were on disaster and which ones were on.
What is your title and your name?
My first name is Lynn, N-I-M. Last name is Kidd, K-I-D-D, and I'm the Chief of Emergency Management for the state of Texas.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
For how many years?
Yeah, long time.
Not as long as Billy Ted. In my 15th year right now as chief of FEMA.
And the best in the country. To go back to what was your name? I'm sorry.
Tyree White,
Tyree.
KTRE.
So go back to your question about what the president wanted to do. What people don't understand is the federal government may have to help every other state, but in Texas, we've invested millions and millions and millions of dollars so that we're ready without needing them. So there's nothing that President Biden wanted to give us on Sunday or Monday that we would have even used yet. And when they send us a generator, it might not be the right generator for the right area. We have to pick it up. We've got to ship it. We get it done like that. It could take days to get it. And Tony does a great job. It's just a reality. So the difference in Texas is, yeah, we're going to need FEMA on the back end, and we want you all to be reimbursed for your expenses. But on the front end, we haven't had a request that he didn't fill. Yeah, didn't fill. Any questions? Yes, I'll go down.
Specifically in Jasper for the tornado that they saw, what are your guys' next steps for recovery there?
Go ahead, Judge.
Certainly. If you don't mind, first I'm going to back up a little bit about what Governor Patrick was talking about. Jasper County, and you look around this room, you see the same faces that respond in our 4-county region to just about everything. They're the same players. There's several more, but we all come together on a regular basis and we all work together. Speaker Phelan reaches out immediately after the tornadoes touch. Senator Nichols. Governor Patrick was already on top of the ball before the tornado were hit by going ahead and declaring, thank you, sir, and getting that moving that weekend. Following the weather service, like Senator Nichols mentioned earlier, that's a key because that's what may help me make my determination on this declaration. But all of us coming together is what makes it work. And we've been trained, and we've gone through disaster after disaster after disaster. So yes, what we need immediately, we usually know what we need immediately. What we can't get locally, we reach out to our trusted friends with the state. They get it for us immediately, and we all work together and know what we're doing. Now, long-term, what we're looking at doing, currently we're sheltering. We've got a shelter operation right now at the Nehemiah Family Life Center. It's a church. They've always opened their hearts and their doors to the people in need. They're doing a great job. The American Red Cross has stepped up and they've helped, and they're gonna conduct that operation for us. We got 4 families now. I think there were 6 at one point. We're working with our long-term recovery groups, our BOADs. We're looking at what we're needing to do to go ahead and get the debris away. TxDOT is stepping forward with the state, thanks to the governor and the chief, senator, and Speaker Phelan, and they're coming together, and we're gonna help them remove the debris, get that away from their homes, get it away from the roads, so that these folks can actually get some help. We've got great help from the Southern Baptist disaster teams, the 409 Search and Rescue Group with their SAW teams, and so many others. Just trying to get everything cleared so we can help make these people whole. FEMA's here, and y'all are a blessing. They're operating a disaster recovery center right now downstairs for the April-May floods that we went through just a short period ago. And if we are granted that FEMA designation and to get IA, individual assistance for our people, we're gonna continue to operate to help them get those funds and whatever they need for assistance. So we got a lot of work ahead of us. Jasper County, just along with Newton, Tyler, Sabine, everybody else, Orange, Jefferson, Hardin that was affected, we all work together and we care for our people. That's what it's all about. That's all anybody in this room is here for, is to help our people and make things a little bit better than what it was before it started. So.
Take okay. Do a follow-up and then your question, and then,
For-
you have to.
For the future, like, of storm season, what is gonna be done for ahead of time? Like, what are you gonna be doing to sort of prepare for the remainder of the season?
Well, first of all, the men and women in this room have already done the work, as the judge just said. He's done his work. And what we do is an analysis after the storm to see what we can do better. I learned a long time ago, someone said, anytime you give a speech, go back and say, what 3 things could you have said better? Or when you start a project, what things could you have done wiser? And when you're making decisions, what 3 things could you have been smarter at? So they've done a great job, but we'll all go back and analyze what we did to be better the next time. And the reason Texas and the counties and the cities are so good, because we have learned and built and made it better and invested more year after year after year.
And let me say, add something to that, Governor. It's like, this is Southeast Texas. You know, we take care of our own.
Right.
And when it happens here in Southeast Texas, we know what to do. Question what everybody asks is like, well, you know, what are you gonna do during the next storm? We already know it's coming. We just don't know how it's gonna come. It's gonna be here, and it's different every time it does. Best thing we can do is just be prepared for it. Get our local sources, our federal, our government sources, our state sources, because the state of Texas, we can take care of the state of Texas. That's what we do. So, like, it's not a question of when, of if, but you know, when, because it's coming. We just don't know what it's gonna do and how it's gonna do. But we are prepared for that. Because like I said, I appreciate the governor, the chief here. It's like, Judge, thank you very much. The city of Jasper, we've been doing well. We've been well taken care of. We're getting everything that we need. I want to thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. You had your hand up, it'll be the last question.
Just kind of, the overall piggyback off of everything, do you think that we were prepared for Beryl and that y'all will be prepared for the remainder of this hurricane season?
I think that the state was well prepared. I think that the gentlemen and the ladies in this room were well prepared. And I think because it fell over a 4-day holiday, when it was very hard to reach people, they were away, not in their normal routines of seeing the evening weather, the evening news. There was probably some communication that was not received that would normally be received. But we can always do better, as I just said. But I think everyone in this room, and I think NIMKID, I'm just a messenger, okay? I'm just the messenger to get out and tell people what needs to be done based on what they asked for and where they're directing us. The governor, and I happened to be in that role last week and this week, but our job and our senators and the speaker and the representative is to inform the public based on what we hear from the experts who do this every day. So I think everyone has done a really great job at the local level and state level, but we can all do better. I'll just close with this. When I came in, I said one of the reasons that Nim and I are here today is we wanted to learn, we want to take notes of what is needed, but most importantly, we want the people in Jasper County and all these surrounding counties, all these mayors and county judges who are here, and the law enforcement, to know that you're just as important as anyone in Houston or anywhere elsewhere in the state. It may not be a big city, Mayor, but it's a great city.
6,884 people will do.
And the people in Jasper are just as important as people in a city of 2.5 million in Houston. And so that's why we're here, to make sure that people know and have hope and know that we're gonna do everything we can for you, just like we do for anyone in any one of our 254 counties. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all, gentlemen and ladies. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate
You know, I just love these stuff.